I'm with Trent Rosen from PSK Performance, and you're the architect of these wonderful fish bowls, right?
Instigator, architect.
Yeah. And I'm really excited that Trent invited me to be on the panel for the Fishbowl, because whilst I've done a fishbowl, I've never been immersed in it, and I really enjoyed the experience. And you know what? You said to me an hour and a half is going to go so quickly, because when I saw an hour and a half on a panel, what am I going to say? But you were so right, that time just flew. We had people really excited to jump into the hot seat. And how did you find the session today?
Look, like all of them, I find them fascinating because it's a format that really allows people to have a voice around what's a burning issue for them. And particularly today we looked at, culture, and I put a bit of a play on words saying getting the core ingredients right. Well, there's probably no real one core ingredient.
That's right,
except for the fact that we know that people are our most valuable assets, for want of a better word, in organisations. But I really enjoyed it, the fact that we had a lot of contributions coming through from the audience. On Twitter as well, there were some comments coming through, people asking questions. So I think that's what really excites me about this particular format. Yeah.
I just like the way that the conversation went where the audience wanted it to go, which is one of the key objectives, and really like that whole peer-to-peer learning and sharing those experiences. It's been a great takeaway for me.
And having people like yourself who've got the subject matter knowledge is what really drives people to come along, I think. So I really want to hear some real stories. What are people experiencing? We talked about a lot of the difficulties having those really challenging, hard conversations. Yeah. We're not all geared up to be able to have those conversations, but I think it's kind of refreshing in some ways to know that we're not feeling this in isolation. That we're all trying our very best. I was just saying to someone just before, I think most people get up in the morning to go to work because they want to do good things. They want to help other people, and these type of formats give, I guess, anyone who wants to know a bit more about a topic or wants to provide some input, it just gives them that space and that voice.
Yeah. Okay, Simon, thank you. It was great to be on the panel with you as we spoke about culture at this Fishbowl. Any key takeaways, or how did you find the experience?
I loved the experience. It was really interactive. I loved the randomness of the questions. We got into some really rich topics. So I loved the psychological safety stuff, and it made me think about how much more of a big deal mental health and psychology is at work than it probably was 20 years ago. So I think on that basis, that was something that really jumped out to me, and just the passion of the people in the room.
Absolutely,
and the panel. And I loved your micro moments as well. So you talked about often those small things that make a big difference on culture change, that we don't have to talk about it as some big thing that's too hard to understand. It's like, actually a safety moment at the start of a meeting, or the cards, those sort of things. So,
it prompts a lot of thinking, doesn't it? I really like the organic way the conversation goes. You don't really know where it's going to go, but then it kind of just gets you thinking about other things, and then it reminds us of the things that we're able to share. And it was great to see so many people enthusiastic to jump into that hot seat as well. It was never empty. We always had someone in there ready to share and ask, and really curious, which is what we love. Hi, Teresa. It was great to meet you on the panel today for a discussion around culture, and it was a fishbowl discussion. So what were some of your key takeaways, or how did you enjoy the experience?
I love the experience of the fishbowl. I think it's great when you take the panel off a pedestal, so you really democratise the conversation, which is really interesting. And I think it's wonderful for the audience to have an opportunity to ask questions and have conversation about what's important to them, not just what's important to us as the panel. Great conversation.
I like the way how it's not scripted.
Yes,
and it can go in any direction, and that direction is actually driven by the audience, which I love. So I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the surprise of some of the conversations and the insights that came out, because you don't really know what to expect.
No.
So I had a great experience, and I really liked one of the quotes that you shared with us, which was about culture, and you said it was a German saying.
I've worked in Germany before with a lot of German colleagues, and when it comes to culture and change, often we need leaders. Well, usually we need leaders to lead that. And there's an expression in Germany. Some leaders have this approach of wash me but don't make me wet. And what I mean by that is they see that there's a need for the organisation to change, be washed, but they actually don't think they need to be changed. And I think that today if change is going to be successfully implemented in organisations, leaders have to get wet.
Yeah.
They have to learn how to swim because they are going to have to get wet.
Yeah, and I think you also mentioned that I think leaders are coming of that realisation of the role that they need to play in that.
I think so,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. And the more that leaders do recognise that this is important, I think the more successful change and evolution will be.
Totally. Yeah, we're wrapping up the Fishbowl now in Melbourne, and Andrew Gherkins here was our moderator extraordinaire, I might say.
Thank you.
So it was great to see you again in this forum, which I haven't been part of before. And how did you find it?
I really enjoy the Fishbowl format just because it's really up to the audience to decide what we talk about.
Yeah.
So, and they're always really good topics that challenge your own thinking, and there's certainly a lot of things that I'll take away to process from here.
I know. I really admire, Andrew, the way that you really had to focus on all those conversations to to kind of thread it together at the end of each segment and then segue it to the next one. I just know like the kind of effort and concentration that takes from a facilitation point of view. So I really appreciate the way you handled that. And I also noticed at the end of the session you handed out the Pondify cards.
I did.
Thank you for doing that. I wasn't expecting that, but nice touch.
Well, I think coming into the session, I thought, given the topic and what we'd be exploring, they'd be a great way to role model simple culture interventions that open up reflection and vulnerability and sharing that I think are really critical. So for me, it was hopefully a lovely way to wrap up the conversation and to give people another practical tool that they can use.
Okay, well, it's good to see that it's a practical tool. And it was great to participate with you in the Fishbowl session. So thank you very much.